Whenever I make one of these, I usually start out with the run first, then put the build at the end. But this time around, I wanted to give a proper explanation on how everything fits together. So let's start out with the frame. First off, I'll be using Pillage to armor strip, so I need to reach a minimum of 330 ability strength to fully remove an enemy's armor with one cast. To do that, I'll start with 3 red Tau Forge shard, followed up by Arcane Bellicose and the Umbral set. Then, to reach our minimum strength requirement, we'll use a rank 12 Blind Rage. Now, 335% ability strength on its own won't be enough to make Pillage strong enough to do a full armor strip. However, ever since the Veilbreaker update, the Corrosive Projection Aura mod was changed to be additive to abilities, which basically lets us stack its effect on top of our own Pillage to reach our full armor strip. For my second Arcane slot, I'll be using Arcane Persistence to not instantly get one shot at level cap. For the rest of the mods, I'll be using Prime Flow, Onto Adrenaline, Narrow-Minded, which not only will help decrease the energy drain per second of Hysteria, but also increase the overall distance traveled by Pillage. For the final mod, you have 2 options. You can either go with Equilibrium or Eternal War. Although Eternal War is very convenient to have, the rework not only made Warcry faster to cast, but more importantly, the ability was also changed to be recastable. You're not even fully action locked during any of Valkyr's first 3 abilities. That means that you can shoot, reload, and even perform an animationless bullet jump while casting them. Hell, if you time it right, you can even skip Warcry's recovery frames by casting another ability. You can get pretty creative with it and perform some niche movement techs with your abilities. Overall, the augment feels a lot less necessary on a high duration build compared to before her rework. On the other hand, when playing in groups where you might have a Frost or a Dante giving you overguard, where you might also get a Revenant or an Oberon making you invulnerable, you're better off having Equilibrium as a secondary source of energy, especially when you consider just how meta Synth Deconstruct is and that your teammate will most likely be running it too. In groups, factors outside of your control can make solely relying on Hunter Adrenaline for energy sustain quite difficult. Equilibrium can help in situations where enemies are dying quickly, getting crowd controlled, or shooting your teammates instead of damaging your HP. It also happens to solve the issue of using this build in sorties and other lower level missions where enemies just don't deal enough damage to generate significant amount of energy. If you only plan on using this build when playing solo in Steel Path level mission, then Eternal War is definitely the better option, but I really couldn't be bothered to regularly swap my mods around. Now, for the Exilus slot, just go for any of the Parkour Velocity mods, or you could also go for Prime Surefoot.
Because spending less time in your butt is a huge DPS increase.
Jokes aside, your 4th ability only gives you its passive effect when your claws are drawn out, even when it's actively draining your energy. Hysteria working that way made more sense before the rework when it used to make you fully invulnerable, but now it's just a dumb byproduct of how the ability is coded. So now, you will sometimes randomly get knocked down or staggered when aim gliding, or straight up get one-shot by a magnetic proc. If you're willing to sacrifice the huge mobility increase, then Prime Sure-Footed is unironically an option. But fuck it, we ball. While we're here, it's such a stupid nerf to make Arcane Persistence get disabled by magnetic procs. The arcane was already balanced since you have to work your build around having enough health and armor to make it worth using, while also having a reliable way to refill your health. Plus, the arcane already had a built-in weakness. Heat procs reduce your armor by half for a couple of seconds. And at least attacks that force proc heat like Jade Eximus lasers and Arson Eximus Fire Blast have very clear windup and can be avoided if you're paying attention. Most attacks that force proc magnetic are borderline unreactable, and the only one that isn't has such a disgusting amount of tracking that the enemy will literally teleport on top of you to hit you with it. Now it just means that you're not allowed to health tank unless you're status immune. Now, the primary literally does not matter. I only used it once throughout the run. Just slap primary bulwark on whatever you want. In the run, I made the mistake of using the Epitaph without prime sure-footed. And let's just say, it wasn't a great time.
The possession. Get it back.
Just use the Kuva Nukor instead. It's better for single target priming and you won't accidentally knock yourself over with it. For priming, just use a viral electric build and a secondary fortifier to steal overguard. For the melee, the build also doesn't matter, just make sure you have the Praetos with evolution 3 for parkour velocity, and maybe slap on melee Kareen to freeze enemies when you roll through them. For the exalted talents, just mod them like this, and make sure to slap on melee crescendo so that you can easily get back to full combo after getting nullified, which will happen quite often as more and more nullifiers are allowed to spawn at high levels. It also comes with the upside that you'll always have a heavy attack ready. When stacking crescendo, do keep in mind that unfortunately the rework didn't even bother fixing the issue where enemies already affected by crowd control won't get opened up to finishers by paralysis. It's baffling since Valkyr has had that problem ever since the release, and now, 13 years later, it's still an issue in the game. Look, if I wanted to play a shitty game where your allies having crowd control in any capacity actively made using your own impossible, I'd just go play DC Universe Online. God, that game has been going to shit ever since they added artifacts. Our companion will be the Panzer, modded with Martyr Symbiosis and Tech Assault. Those two mods synergize very well with Valkyr and will come in clutch as an extra layer of protection before going into your passive. The mod saved my life several times throughout the run, and by the end of it I ended up not even going down once. In the original run, I wasn't even using Seismic Bond or Tenacious Bond, so you could realistically replace one of them with Resourceful Retriever if you wanted more loot. Tier list time! When it comes to level capping, Valkyr used to be a lot better at it before a rework, but the changes to Asteria has nerfed her survivability in exchange for more damage that she simply did not need to be effective at level cap. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they are a goddamn liar who didn't build her properly. Especially since both Warcry and Asteria disable the invincibility your frame gets when you're in operator mode. So you will literally watch your frame get killed while you sit helplessly watching from your cuck chair. And now a quick drip check before the run. Cause what's the point of doing cool shit if you look like shit? I forgot to mention it earlier, my last two shards are a yellow casting speed shard and a red duration shard. And our drip lord of the day goes to Gaza Yala's Ember Prime. Just look at it. Absolutely dripped out. And now, here's the run.
Exolizer suppressed. Purge it before it makes the contamination worse. Any nearby attackers will degrade the Exolizer's performance. Clear them out to get the system working full steam. We just lost an Exolizer to possession. Get it back. Exolyzer spent. Contamination spreading. Ah, the void has manifested something other than a nightmare. We're down an Exolyzer, working on backups. Void Cascade losing steam. Exolyzer suppressed. Purge it before it makes the contamination worse. Any nearby attackers will degrade the Exolyzer's performance. Clear them out to get the system working full steam. We just lost an Exolyzer to possession. Get it back. Exolyzer suppressed. Purge it before it makes the contamination worse. We're down an Exolyzer, working on backups. Keep any roaming Thrax away from that Exolyzer until it discharges. That'll nip this cascade in the bud. Exolyzer spent. Just lost an Exolyzer to possession. Get it back. Cascade intensifying. Spent Exolyzer has been retired. This discovery might interest you. Spent Exolyzer has been retired. Exolyzer suppressed. Purge it before it makes the contamination worse. Now the Exolyzer's purged. Any casualties you inflict within its field will bring the contamination level down. Void Cascade losing steam. Exalizer spent. We're down an Exalizer, working on backups. This cascade is growing out of control. We're down an Exalizer, working on backups. See what you make of this.
Remember, students.
We just lost an Exalizer to possession. Get it back. Exalizer spent.
I see.
Now the Exalizer's purged. Any casualties you inflict within its field will bring the contamination level down. Spent Exalizer has been retired. Exalizer suppressed. Purge it before it makes the contamination worse. We're down an Exalizer, working on backups. Keep any roaming Thrax away from that Exalizer until it discharges. That'll nip this cascade in the bud. Void contamination dropping. Exalizer spent. Our enemy's folly is your gain. We just lost an Exalizer to possession. Get it back. Any nearby attackers will degrade the Exolizer's performance. Clear them out to get the system working full steam. Spent Exolizer has been retired. Contamination levels going in the wrong direction. Spent Exolizer has been retired. Cascade receding. Exolizer suppressed. Purge it before it makes the contamination worse.
You're not skipping.
Exolizer suppressed. Purge it before it makes the contamination worse. Any nearby attackers will degrade the Exolizer's performance. Clear them out to get the system working full steam. We're down an Exolizer, working on backups. Exolizer spent. Struggle has its benefits. Exolizer spent. Spent Exolizer has been retired. Contamination spreading.
Remember, students,
Cascade is approaching critical levels. Your time is running out. The Void Cascade has surpassed the tipping point. It's lethal now. Leave the area while you still can.
What you have learned here will serve you well.